Hello again. Welcome back to Billy Ho Sports. Thanksgiving Day is upon us this Thursday. Churchill Downs is a pretty special day. We used to go a couple times years ago. Family gathered there for the buffet and always had a great time. So, a couple of big stakes races, the Fall City and Cardinal Stakes, we're going to cover today. Friday, we're going to take a look at the Clark and the Miss Revere, maybe along with a late pick five action. And if you watched the video last week, we had two $48 tickets, and ticket number two did cash for I think $417 on a pretty chalky day. But that ticket actually could have been a lot cheaper because of some scratches. I believe the 9 horse chalk that won leg two or three, I can't recall, but the two other horses I had in there had scratched, and then I just said, well, just throw in the 5 and the 6 to keep it $48. But if you'd have just singled that 9 that was left over, it would have made an even cheaper ticket for $417. I had a really good day, by the way. Just I was just banging all 5 of those late pick five races were all good money races for me anyway. So I hope you had a good day if you played, and we're going to get into horses. So I appreciate you joining me today. Remember to subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so, completely free of charge. If anybody would ever thought that there was a charge just because it says subscribe, it's not like a Netflix subscription. You just click that subscribe button and you're there. So take advantage, right? And click the like button while you're at it. Let's talk horses. So we got race number 9, which is the Fall City, 9 furlongs on the dirt, fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. And we'll have Brad Cox's Tarifa making her return to Churchill Downs after the Kentucky Oaks, where she had a kind of a bad day at the office, so to speak. So let's take a look at some past performances and see what we come up with. Okay, here we go. We've got the 9th race, and we are looking at number 1, Neon Icon, who FYI is also entered in Friday's race, the Miss Revere. So I don't know which way they'll go, but we'll find out soon enough. So this one is probably going to be a bit of a long shot. 10 to 1, I think, 12 to 1, 15 to 1 morning line odd. Sorry about that. Lost my place there for a second. But 15 to 1 morning line, and not too bad. 91 speed figure. I'll have a key stat on Neon Icon at the end of it, so stick around. I wanted to get into Tarifa. This is Brad Cox, and we're going to get Flavian Pratt aboard once again. And you can see how good she's been. You know, started off broker maiden at Keeneland, then came over to Churchill. Had a little bit of a second outing, sophomore itis kind of thing, but then rattled off a really hot streak once she got to fairgrounds. And that was the Kentucky Oaks Trail, if you remembered. She swept both prep races right here, the Fairgrounds Oaks and the Rachel Alexandria, both on a fast and sloppy surface. So I didn't think it was any excuse in the Oaks. I think there was just sort of Torpedo Anna was just so damn good. And she just was keen early. She wasn't really having a good day. So, you know, well, we'll forgive her for that. And then obviously she had a couple of good outings going behind Torpedo Anna in the cotillion there, 3rd place, but then bounced back in this Mother Goose where she showed real toughness going down the stretch, facing off against the 4 to 5 favorite Gunsong. She even briefly lost the lead late, but then dug back in to get clear by a full head. So she will be your 9 to 5 favorite. And so that brings me down to I'm guessing it's Peng Noir as the 3 horse. Rod Brissett, pretty solid looking horse. Won at Keeneland 2 back, and then Churchill Downs making it 2 in a row. She kind of struggled after she broke her maiden for a while, but she got back into the winner's circle recently. Recent form is always important. Definitely likes to get out front and be on the lead or press the pace. So Florent Giroux aboard for again, and Flo Go's going to get the nod on Okay, number four, Musical Mischief pulled off the big upset in the Grade Two Locust Grove, 16-1 for Mike McCarthy, and props to Edgar Morales jockey risking that inside rail move. He was on the inside and had to hit the brakes and showed a lot of patience. And then the path opened up for him, and he just shot right on through the gap there and took it home for the win. So she's actually the 2-1 second choice. So we'll see if she's ready for prime time and if she can back up this big 100 number. She was working her way up to it. I mean, 99 in the groupie doll behind Pig Ale. So pretty solid looking horse there. So number five in closure is Judamont Farms entry for Bill Mott. I don't think she's quite up to the level of the top choices here, but she has improved in her last couple of races, 12-1. If you're a Judamont and Bill Mott type of fan, Brian Hernandez is riding, got a couple good finishes, but moving up, beaten by a lot weaker in the optional claiming. That brings me to Loved. Loved is Godolphin entry trained by Brendan Walsh. Still looking for her first graded stakes win. She's got some wins, a whole bunch of wins after she broke her maiden. She ran off three straight, and then took a couple hits on the grade three level, then dropped down to a minor stakes and won back up to Locust Grove. And as you can see, but this grade one Spencer was a really, really, really good effort. She made a really strong bid at Idiomatic into the stretch, but Idiomatic, I mean, obviously just a super, super strong horse. So she was unable to maintain that one, fell back to finish fourth by 9 lengths. And she is actually, I think, the 3-1 third choice. So I don't really have any interest in the remaining entries, Lexa or Quattro. So we are going to sum things up, and then we'll get on to the next race. So Tarifa looks to be the one to beat. She's a proven winner. Musical Mischief, is she going to be ready to back up that 100 speed figure? If you believe that, she's in there too. I think I like that effort in the Spinster by Loved. She could be tough to beat if she runs that effort back. But I'd say if there's no scratches, I would look to key the number two Tarifa with Musical Mischief, the six Loved for the exacta, maybe potential for rain overnight into Wednesday. I looked at the forecast today. Could be a decent amount of rain Wednesday night into Thursday AM. So if they do happen to seal the track, number one Neon Icon has it. This is the stat I was talking about. This stat here I got circled: 27% mud stat in 240 mud starts. So the lower the mud starts, when I look at these stats, if it was like 2,000 mud starts, I probably wouldn't pay too much attention. But 27 is a big number for 240 starts. So, and also FYI, she had a win at Churchill Downs going 10 furlongs on a wet fast track when it got pulled from the turf. So that's of note. So that brings us to race number 10, or I mean, race number 11. Sorry, the Cardinal. That's 9 furlongs on the turf. Fillies and mares, 3-year-olds and up. Let's take a look at some past performances. Okay, number one is going to be she's looking lucky, and you can see here she wins at Churchill Downs on November 15th, but placed third through disqualification. So I went and watched that replay several times, and I just wanted to see where it was. And she does drift late in the stretch, but there was two things I noticed. One, I didn't think it was all that much interference between her and the five horse, but the other thing I noticed was the five horse wasn't really passing her. I don't think the five horse would have passed her regardless of what happened. So I usually the stewards look at those and say, well, it wasn't going to affect the outcome. So, but they held up both the jockey. They actually threw the challenge flag. The jockey did, and then the stewards actually launched the inquiry and held it up. So unfortunate for that. 10-1 morning line odds. Magical Loop making her second turf start off a good effort previously. Made a really, really nice rally up for third in her last race, beaten by less than a length. Kind of a key race in this one, considered it has another rival in it. Number 7, Stir Crazy, stuck on the rail, which could have been a rougher trip considering the softer turf. Sometimes when the turf, it depends on where they had the rail. I didn't really double check where they had the rail set, but sometimes the outside is favored when the track is less. It was like good instead of firm. So sometimes when the turf's a little softer, that inside rail isn't so good. So she could go over and looked at the window. Number 3 is another one, is Duvet Day, and this one, number 1 in prime power, 3-1 morning line odds. And I think a bit of a soft favorite in my opinion. She does have the fastest turf speed at the distance, but her record doesn't really reflect as some of the other as good as some of the other ones. You can see she's 0 for 7 in 2024. Uh, so only 3 lifetime wins uh, for the 5-year old mare, and not really all that much graded stakes experience. A couple of grade 3 efforts that she got kind of blown out in. So Flavian Pratt aboard, I guess, does give it a big bump. But I'm probably going to look elsewhere. Maybe even number 4, Queen Regent, for Brendan Walsh. Frankie Dettori gets the mount. Always love Frankie on turf. She had a win at came over, actually, you can see, coming over from Great Britain early this January, and then trained and then made her debut at Kentucky Downs to a successful win, and then recently ran third on the all weather track in the Maple Leaf at Woodbine, 5-2 morning line. So one of the top choices for me, and probably the betting public as well. I don't have a whole lot of interest in Heartspin, but I do have interest in Implicated. This is the other Brendan Walsh entry. Run versus a lot tougher in her last few. You can see, look, I like to look back here to the Nassau, where she had back to back wins at Woodbine and Churchill Downs. This May 12th race we'll take a look at here just in a little bit as we wrap things up, is going to be a key race, in my opinion. But she goes to Kentucky Downs off the Nassau, and maybe she just didn't like the turf. She didn't have anything to offer late. And then I think she got in over her head in the Grade 1 First Lady. So I'm going to draw a line through those 2 races, and considering I think this is a much better spot for her. Now we have their Stir Crazy. We have Mike Maker and Luis Saez. Luis Saez on fire this meet. So beware of that. Lost by just a nose at Keeneland in her last race, off the off second off the layoff, and so the third off the layoff, if she improves, is going to be very competitive. Luis Saez, like I said, on fire. So not much interest in the rest of these. Harvey's Princess, uh, none of these really sparked anything to me. Dreaming of Mo, I took a brief look at, but Dale Roman's just such a terrible graded stakes record, so I'm going to toss him. And Quality Star is pretty close, but she's got to start making, got to take some stands somewhere. So basically, to sum things up, Duvet Day looks vulnerable, like I mentioned before. And the other thing to mention is Duvet Day is more of a marathoner, running like 2 miles, like a mile and 5/8. So this is a mile. This is 9 furlongs. So sometimes these marathon runners don't have the early pace to contend. If you remember the Breeders' Cup Classic, then everybody was talking about Next. That horse got run. I mean, still running probably. So sometimes if they don't have that early pace, they can get blown out. Not saying that'll happen, but it's possible. So anyway, that May 12th race, very key in my opinion, as I referred to, where she won going at a mile. So that one is was Queen Regent, and 8-1, good value by Queen Regent. So we're definitely going to be having some interest there. And then number 7, Stir Crazy, and number 2, Magical Loot. I think Magical Loot could be an overlay. I don't think 10-1 or whatever the morning line odds were. I think that it'll be more than that. I think you're looking at maybe closer to 20-1 with the other horses in the race spread out. So Stir Crazy, that was the race. This is the race. Stir Crazy missed by just the nose, but Magical Loot was on the inside. When I mentioned earlier about the tough trip in the on the inside rail. So that race, both of those, if any one of these two, like between Queen Regent and Magical Loot, come in, could make for like a really nice trifecta. 2, 4, 6, 7 are the selections. I will be looking to probably key one of those four, and the probably the most likely one would be Implicated or Stir Crazy, one of those two. So that's all I have for today. Next up is, of course, the Black Friday presentation. We'll have a couple of stakes races, the Clark and the Miss Revere in that one. So remember, free to subscribe. So if you made it this far, click that button for me. And till next time, appreciate you watching. See you soon.